After you work, you need to make sure to record your hours. For our program, that means time needs to be entered in both U-Access and the SnapEd Timelog. So why do we need to enter time in the Timelog if we've already entered it in U-Access? Well, the SnapEd Timelog is how we differentiate between admin and direct time, because our grant requires us to maintain a certain level of direct hours.
Let's go over how to fill out the Timelog correctly.
Your supervisor should email you the newest template, so be sure to contact them if you haven't received it. Make sure you use the same template every month, unless accounting or your supervisor sends you an updated one, because accurate month-to-month data is needed for payroll processing.
If you do receive an updated Timelog, please make sure to delete any old copies and move forward with the updated copy.
Some general rules of this template are written over here for reference. Something important to remember is that if a cell is red, it indicates an error. So if a cell is blank and it's red, you need to fill it in with information. If a cell has content in it, but it's red, the content inside contains an error and may need to be erased. Before you enter any of your time, take a look at the information at the top of the log.
This section contains your name, code, and status. If you have any changes to ERE code or status, make the changes in these white updated boxes below. Make sure you also select an effective date for these changes so your time can continue to be calculated correctly. Any notes for accounting about your Timelog can be typed in here. Another thing to think about is whether you've had a percentage or FTE change within the program this past month.
A percentage change is when the percentage you work with the grant changes, such as if you've changed from working 100% of the time with SnapEd to working 50% of the time with SnapEd and 50% of the time with another grant.
An FTE change is when the number of hours you work a week changes, such as if you changed from working 40 hours a week to 30. If you have, go to this box on the right. You'll see your current status in gray. These cells are locked, as any change in status will need to be compared to your original. Instead, make any updates in the white updated column to the right. First, select the date of change in the drop-down list. You'll notice the FTE box turn red. This indicates you must fill this out for your time to be calculated correctly. Type your FTE. This doesn't have to be different from your original if your only change is in percentage. Now enter your percentage with your current county. Any new county percentage can be added using the drop-down list in the rightmost column, and any non-SnapEd percentage can be noted in the Other Not SnapEd column here. Note that if you don't have 100%, the total section will be red. This indicates you may have made an error in math that will need to be corrected. Now let's talk about filling out some time.
You may notice that even though you have not entered any time for the month, there's already time in this box off to the right. That's because these boxes calculate total time for each pay period, which may start at the end of one month and end at the beginning of another.
If you're not a 100% SnapEd employee, you'll also see a couple more boxes over here on the right. These boxes are to let you know the balance of time worked for the grant versus what you're expected to work. This is helpful for you and your supervisor to know if you need to increase or decrease your time worked on SnapEd. It will start calculating your hours beginning the 1st of October and will be cumulative until the end of the fiscal year. Your daily totals will sum in the daily total column, which will then be added up to the pay period total in the white cell. Make sure to split your time up between admin and direct, depending on how many hours you worked that day. If you're not sure what your time falls under, you can check the crosswalk on the first tab of the form for specific examples, or watch the admin and direct split tutorial for a more general view of the rules. If you took time off, enter your hours in the time off column, and select the type of time off in the drop-down list next to it. If you work partly with other grants, make sure you're entering your full time off taken in this column. The form will automatically calculate the correct time based on your percentage. The only time you will not enter a time in the time off type column is when you take unpaid time. Any unpaid time will need to be written in the notes. If you take time and select O for other, you'll need to enter the type of time off in the notes on the right. Remember, if you see red, it's an error. If you only enter time, the drop-down list will be red, indicating you need to select a type. If you only select a type, the time off section will be red, indicating you need to enter time. The exception to this being if you select U for unpaid. If you select U for unpaid and type a number in the time off type column, you'll see it turn red, indicating you need to erase the content and leave a cell blank. Make sure to check with your supervisor for your county's policy on the explanation and notes column overall. Just make sure you're using it to denote any unpaid or other time off. Best practice for the time log is to fill out your time for the day after you completed working, instead of trying to fill out the entire month at the end. Mostly, you need to make sure you're reporting actual hours worked for SnapEd and ensuring any paid time off is the same as it is in your U-Access timesheet. Once you've finished your log, save it according to your county's protocol. Just remember to use the same template every month, unless accounting or your supervisor sends you a new one, in which case you should delete the previous template and go forward with the updated one. If you have any questions after watching this, contact your RC or the accounting team, and we'll be happy to help.